Oh, what's up, y'all? How you doing? Legendary Talks. This is episode 58. We have the legendary Joy. For those that don't know her, she's an unbelievable, just amazing, like singer, just creative soul. You know, like a truly an amazing kind of creative person. So I am very excited to talk to her. Hey, Mommy from Japan, all the way from Japan. We love you. Thank you for being so supportive. Thank you, everybody, for being so supportive. It's been, this is crooked. What's up, Marcel? You've been killing it on IG, Marcel. Joy is just what's up, Shawnee? I just texted you 1 second ago. Hey, Sydney. Thank you all for being so supportive of this. It's my 58th night in a row. And I'm not stopping until the quarantine is over. It's been going really good. I've got to hear some amazing stories about culture, and I'm just really excited to be doing these. So they're awesome. Yes, Shawnee, I dressed up for Joy. Yes, hey, Josie. Joy's an amazing singer and just like this creative, amazing kind of person. You know, she emotes creativity. So I'm really excited to talk to her and chat with her and hear what she has to say about things, you know? Hey, Chandra. She has some of my favorite songs. She has a song called Freedom, which my friend Sydney and I, it's one of our favorite songs. We kind of bonded over that song. She has a lot of great, a huge, great body of work, and I'm really excited to chat with her. How you guys doing, too? So, what are you drinking, first of all? I'm drinking Belvedere and soda. We play a drinking game every night, and you guys can choose the suggestions that I asked Joy. She can make the final choice. So we've had Grace Jones, we had Lotus was the word last night, we've had Madonna as the word. What do you suggest we use as the drinking word for tonight? And then I'm going to have Joy make the final decision. And obviously the drinking word, it's self-explanatory. When we say that word, you drink. So it's Joy Gilliam, and she is an amazing singer, yeah. Suggestions for drinking words, guys. You're drinking wine, you're drinking mezcal, that's great. Whose birthday is it today? It was Andre 3000's birthday yesterday, so I think he was on the list of options, but we went with Lotus instead. We did hotel as one of the drinking words. Joy for the drinking word, that's kind of good. When you say yeah, drink. Okay, so the two options so far are joy. Joy, yeah, and legendary. Those are all kind of good, actually. I mean, we'll be drinking a lot, obviously, so y'all want to get drunk. Meow. Fabulous is a drinking word. Gladys Knight as a drinking word. I like joy, legendary, yeah. Any other drinking words? Party, that's a good one, actually. Party's a good one. Joy, J-O-Y, as opposed to her name, J-O-I. So, but that'll probably come up in conversation quite a bit. Basically, we want to bring it up in conversation and, make it fun and interesting. What are you guys drinking in the meantime? I saw mezcal, I saw wine. Fierce is a good one too, Shawnee, thank you. Oh, it's Miss Gladys's birthday. Thank you, Chandra. Happy birthday, Gladys Knight. I went to her birthday last year, actually. I think it was her 75th. It was amazing. I met LaToya Jackson at that party, and that was one of the highlights. Gladys is Gladys performed, and she was, very young. She had a young man, she had a young husband or boyfriend, I don't know, and she was hey, Junior, what's up? She had a really youngness about her, She sang amazing. She had totally vibrant performer, kind of dancing, running around. She was amazing. So she turned 76 today because I went to her 75th birthday last year. Junior Sanchez in the house, that's true. Yeah, her husband is young. Junior, I loved talking to you last week. That was really, really great. This is my 58th one, Junior. Can you believe that? Oh, Joy is joining us right now. Very excited. We have to remember that I started 5 minutes early, so this ends at 8:25, not 8:30. I hate when it hangs up. Hi, Joy. How are you? Very excited to chat with you. Yes, Junior, what up? Joy, do you know you have to request me and then I'll accept, or do you want me to request you? I can request you. Let me request Joy real quick. So Joy, I just requested that you join me, so you have to accept it. Or you can request me, whatever you prefer. My fit is fabulous, thank you. I dressed up for Joy, our guest tonight. And then we're going to first pick the drinking word. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to her. She's an unbelievably amazing person. We're just waiting for her to join or whatever. Yes, my 58th night in a row. Even I can't believe it. Sounds crazy to me. What's up, Mike? And Legendary Talks not stopping anytime soon. We're here to celebrate culture on every aspect. So, hey guys, just joining. We're about to have Joy join us. Joy, I'm going to request you again. Maybe you missed it. Or you can request me as well. We have Joy tonight. She's the unbelievably creative, amazing human. Yes, everything is well with me. Thank you for asking. We are just waiting for her to join or me to join her. Hey, Megan. Thank you guys always for supporting it. It's my 58th night in a row. There, she got it. No time soon am I stopping. Legendary Talks, you know what we do. 7:30, 10 West Coast. Hi, Boo.
Hi, honey.
Good, you got it. Okay, good. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Pretty
good.
good.
Thank you for yes. Thank you for doing this with me. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Thank you for having me.
I dressed for you, first of all.
Oh, look at you, and I'm all cash.
True story.
You do very, very fancy. I feel like I need to throw on a boa or something.
Listen, you can do whatever. Listen, you can do whatever you want, boo boo. So first of all, it's I don't think you've seen it yet. It's called Legendary Talks. It's my 58th night in a row. I've done it. I'm doing it every day of quarantine.
Yes.
And I am celebrating important people to culture. That's the long and short of it is I'm really getting to celebrate these people these people that have been extremely important to culture. Kind of let them share these really amazing stories about, Prince and Biggie and Tupac and these things that, a lot of people don't know. And it's really been a really great history lesson for a lot of people in a great way. So.
All right. Excellent. Yeah.
And then also one more thing before we start, we have a drinking word every night. And I let the people pick 3 and then you get to choose the word. So they said joy, J-O-Y. Yeah, Y-E-A, or legendary. What's the drinking word?
Oh my, there's gonna be some drunk motherfuckers this evening, ain't it?
That's what I said. They want to get drunk, is what I said. So you're right about that.
Okay, that's good. Do I have to name something too, or
no? You pick one of those 3. You pick one of those 3.
Those 3. Let's pick yeah.
Okay, good. All right, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
So, what are you drinking?
Yeah.
What are you drinking?
I'm actually having a little bit of tea. I think it might be spiked.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Mug.
Cheers to that. Cheers to you.
Cheers to that.
Love you. I need a Run DMC mug. Okay, so Joy, something I kind of ask most people because I think it's very interesting and telling of who they became as like these creative adults is what are some of their early childhood, influences. So I always ask, what's the first song that you really remember connecting with as a young child, 6, 7 years old? You mean?
The very first song. This is gonna be funny.
Yeah.
Okay, I have two firsts. The first song I can remember connecting with and hearing, like in my early memory, is Benny and the Jets.
Oh, good. That's a great one.
Okay. Now, the funny part is the first song I can remember singing and learning by heart was You Light Up My Life by Debbie Boone.
Also, kind of a good one, right? That's a good one, right? Yeah. Benny and Jets is cooler, but whatever. That's why I love you, because you are, like an onion. The more you peel, the more you learn. And then, what's the first album you bought with your own money?
The first album that I bought with my own money, shit, it might have been Raising Hell.
Oh, good. See? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It might have been Raising Hell. I can't remember, though.
The drinking word is yeah, by the way, so.
I know the first 45 I bought.
What's that?
The first 45 I bought was Peanut Butter by Lenny Williams.
Okay. The first 45 I bought was Real Roxanne and Cool It Now. I bought them both the same day.
Oh, cute. Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. Let me back up. There we go. Now you reminded me of my first album. With my money. You know what it was? It was DeBarge.
Oh, DeBarge is my favorite group. Probably
DeBarge.
I love DeBarge.
It was DeBarge. I was in middle school. Yeah.
DeBarge is from Detroit, like me, and DeBarge is probably in my top 3 favorite groups of all time, by the way.
Right.
Okay, and then what's the first concert you went to?
Ooh, the first concert. I think LaBelle.
Oh.
At the War Memorial Auditorium in Nashville, because my mother didn't have a sitter.
Amazing.
I think that might have been the first one I went to. And the second one I went to was maybe to see the Mothership land. So Parliament, Funkadelic.
Listen, and see how that all worked out, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Because I really think, I think that kind of stuff really shapes us as creative adults. And I don't think, I think we kind of forget that how important that stuff is, you know what I mean? We kind of like become adults, we forget that, like, you sing LaBelle or the DeBarge album, how much of an influence, an impact it actually has on the creative being that you have become today. So, and then when did you discover Prince?
Oh my. I remember hearing Waiting for the Love. Still waiting.
Yeah.
Remember that? Hearing that on the radio in Nashville.
Yep.
So I had to have been about 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
probably 3rd grade, 4th grade.
I basically put people in 2 categories. I put people in 2 categories, like understand Prince or don't necessarily understand Prince. They kind of like the song "Kiss" by Prince, or or this one's which the Prince has more than 500 songs that have moved me personally. Kiss is really not one of them. So so it's 2 categories. So, and then is there any family member that you think you were like, or was like was you're the most like growing up? Could be a cousin, could be a neighbor.
Now that I'm older, I know that I'm probably most like my Aunt Kim, who is my dad's baby sister.
Yep.
She's a creative. She's a writer, but she's very, very much a loner, though.
Yep.
A very creative mind, a critical thinking mind, and a poet, wordsmith, beautiful wordsmith. And we actually look a lot alike, too. But though I didn't spend a whole lot of time around her when I was growing up, like not a lot, but I recognize now that I'm older, I'm probably the most like her. She doesn't sing or anything, but she's got a wicked pen. She's an artist.
I mean, that makes sense though. That's a part, it's part of you as well. So
I can give her a little shout out under the name Garnett Lockhart. She's got 2 books out, so
cool.
People can check for her
and then you were in Nashville until you were how old?
I was in Nashville until I would say full until I went to college, my freshman year. So until I was 18. And then I came back for maybe a couple of years, kind of off and on. I was kind of bouncing around the country and then I ultimately landed in Atlanta when I was about 21.
So what do you think Atlanta, how did Nashville influence you growing up?
Oh,
What is
well, I mean, well, aside from being, the country music capital of the world, uh, it's it was a musically diverse city to live in, and to grow up in. The arts uh, that were available there were plentiful. My mom made
right?
sure that I was able to participate in whatever the hell I wanted to.
Good.
Music, theater, uh, I had a really, really enriched cultural life as a kid living in Nashville. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty diverse place to grow up. I mean, now I know it's all, everybody's like, ooh, Nashville, Nashville. And it's like this little, kind of
Yeah.
it place that people want
Yeah.
to. But growing up, it was like a small, big city.
Yeah. No.
Small metropolitan vibes,
Yeah.
but also a college town. So the majority of the people that were there and people that I grew up around were, college educated and sort of paving their own way, in the world.
Um, yeah, that's interesting because Nashville, I think, it obviously played, I think, a big role in shaping you. It's still there, so I can still see like Nashville in you right
Absolutely.
now. Yeah. Which is,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Nashville
Um,
pride. Yes.
Good, good. And then what's the first nightclub you went to? It doesn't have to be in Nashville. Like the first nightclub that you really were like, oh my gosh, these people are real. You
Oh,
mean?
honey. Oh, the first nightclub I went to was in Atlanta. I was 18. It was my
Oh
senior
man.
year of high school. I went with my cousin Lena, who was a senior at Tennessee State at the time. They dressed me up. It was like the Tennessee State family game, like the classic that they used to have. And mom let me go out with them. I don't think she knew we were going to the club, but she just was like, okay, you're gonna be with them. And we went to the club, and it was Dominique. It was Dominique Wilkins' club that was on Peachtree in Midtown at the time, and I think it was called Atlanta Live, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure it was called Atlanta Live. And when I walked into the building, what I remember very vividly is "Set It Off"
Yep.
playing. Like as soon as I walked in, and I was just
As,
like,
as it should be. You mean you're walking in, set it up to the left, right? And then were
it
you
was
kind
so
of blown
fun.
away because I feel like people's first entry into a club, mine was, kind of blew my mind. So like, were you kind of blown
Yeah,
away? Yeah.
yeah,
There's
I
something
was
about,
absolutely doing that.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, what? And like just everything.
Wait a minute though, Damon.
Yeah.
Let me rewind though. Okay, so that was my first time going like I'm going to the club. But
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
first time me being in a club, my family owned the club in Nashville. They
Oh,
owned
by
a
the
club
way.
called Wall Street. And then after Wall Street, it was called Park Avenue.
Oh,
And they had, all kind of acts and shit would come, there and perform. So the first time I actually set foot in a club was in my family's club, and I went there to see SOS Band.
okay. It's all starting to make sense to me now, by the way, all of it. So what, yeah. So, like I said, you're like an onion. The more you peel, it's like more. It never ends. So, first of all, I see Nellie's on here. Lots of my friends are on here. People were very excited that you were doing this. I have to be honest. People have been texting all day. They're very
Hi.
excited. So,
You guys. Oh, I see my cousin Lisa. Hi, Lisa. I just saw her say Uncle Dwayne. She's right. My cousin Dwayne,
I
aka
mean,
Chubby. It was his club. That's right.
okay. So, what's the first time you sang?
Okay, the first time I sang, I think that may have been club meeting for my grandma. My grandma had a little ladies club that she belonged to called the Beautiful Lilies,
Yep.
and they would get together monthly and do food and play Pekino and that kind of thing.
Do you
And
think that ladies do?
I think I sung. "You Light Up My Life."
That's your song, Russell. That's your song.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy you that
I'm
album.
a little person, man. I belt that thing out. So I think that was my first time.
That's really funny. And
Yeah.
how was like your first kind of singing experiences? Was it like, did you feel like, how did you feel basically?
Oh, I felt like I knew that that was what I wanted to do.
Good. And how old
Yeah.
were you?
I felt like immediately connected to, performance.
How
And
old were you?
I was probably six.
Yeah, just curious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
was just,
most singers know it from jump. They know it from around that age. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and then did you realize kind of in your teenage years that you had something really special, or not yet, or when did you kind of realize it was special?
I think I realized it was special actually when I was probably about 8 or 9.
Got it. And
Because I sang in the choir at my church. I used to go to Pilgrim Emmanuel Baptist Church on the south side of Nashville, and where Reverend Oscar Miles was the pastor. And
amen.
and Reverend Miles was a hell of a singer himself. I mean, and he was young. He was only like 22 or 23. He was a young
Oh, wow.
pastor, handsome, and I'm talking about sang like Sam Cooke every Sunday. Do you understand me? I'm talking about turn it out at the church.
Good.
And so, I sang solo in the choir, and because of people's response, I knew that it was
Yeah.
something,
Oh,
kind of
good.
special. And then I also went to summer church school, which is like a First Baptist Church capital year. And I went there for like 4 summers in a row, and that really, really shaped
Good.
my creativity and shaped my desire for that. And that further instilled in me that I had something that was
Special.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it may have doesn't sound like you had a confidence issue, but it may have really helped your confidence as well to be, to be like, this is really something I could do. Those summer schools, yeah.
It sort of reinstilled things because I definitely
Yeah.
didn't have a confidence issue. I didn't.
Isn't that amazing?
That's not been one of my
That's amazing.
shortcomings in life. Thank
Good.
goodness.
And then,
Probably foolishly so sometimes.
I know. Then one more question about, the Nashville era, we'll call it.
Mhm.
Was there anyone that you either looked up to or that kind of mentored you during that time?
Oh man, oh man, a few different people. I looked up to my cousins. I
Yeah,
looked up to because at the time I was kind of the youngest one.
got it.
Not that they were super older than me, but they were still older than me. You know how you
Yeah,
are with like your big cousin or big sister or
yeah,
brother. But in particular, in terms of creativity, there was a woman named Chandra Norman who sort of handled the arts part of the camp that I went
yep,
to, and she
yep.
was a dancer, and she had a very nice voice as well, and she was also Miss Tennessee State,
Ooh, so she
which
was
is such
gorgeous.
a big deal. Yes, and she was a majorette, and just
Oh,
wonderful and lovely. And so Chandra had a really big impact on me. Also, a woman that was one of our camp counselors named Laverne. Laverne was very talented. She had a great voice. I looked to her, and I looked up to some of my really tight friends who did the same thing that I did and who were wildly talented. And as I looked at it then, more talented than I. But there was one sister in particular whose name is Dee Dee O'Neill, who is an incredible vocalist, an incredible songwriter, and we continue to be great friends, throughout the years, and we would also
awesome.
work to collaborate together.
Oh, great.
Uh, and also Miss Linda Everett, who was my tap teacher,
Oh,
because I danced with Board of Parks and Recreation. I also danced in Nashville City Ballet as a child.
oh, wow.
Um, and so all of my dance instructors from back then as well. Yeah, lots and lots of reinforcements. And my cousin Valerie was a singer too back then,
Oh,
Valerie Davidson. And there was another gentleman named Rod. Um, oh shit, what the hell is Rod last name? This is awful. I should know that. But anyway, Rod had a show that came on public access, PBS in Nashville, and I was on the show. It was called Magic Music,
doing
and so I
what?
played like this little character named Jenny on
Oh,
the
wow.
show. And
Amazing.
so I would, that was like probably fourth, fifth grade. So lots of people who had a hand in it when I was a very young child.
Because to me, it's like, you are one of the most creative humans that I ever met. You like creativity, flies out of your pores in a way that it doesn't most people. But it's really interesting and really telling that all your childhood, you were creative from birth, basically. Because some people, they get it in the teenage years or later in life or whatever, they develop it. You just were a creative being your whole life, and it sounds like you had tons and tons of support and influence growing up. That's great. So it all makes sense. But I'm just learning, about you that way. So okay, so you're 18. You kind of bounce around from different places from 18 to 21. What is kind of like what's the highlight of that, or what's going on with you then?
Well, I am pretty wild and free in the world at that time.
As you are now.
But back then, even more so, quite rebellious, quite continually against the grain. I went to Memphis State, went to college for a year and a half. Went to Memphis State first. Didn't have no grades the whole time, really. Was there because I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be. If I couldn't go to NYU, I didn't want to go nowhere.
Did you have
and my mother was not going to let me go to NYU because they didn't have dorms, and like she's Southern Belle. She's like, no, it's too wild. You can't go to New York. So I didn't give a shit. If I couldn't go there, or like I also wanted to go to Carnegie Mellon or University of Cincinnati. I wanted to go somewhere that I knew had like a badass music program.
Yep.
Mom really wasn't keen on me going that far away. Plus, I was a little bit too wild and not so responsible. So she was probably a little scared to let me go.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to go to Memphis State. But I had a ball while I was in Memphis State. Too much fun, actually. Ended up being like gay side while I was there, and like just all this stuff, but like really didn't go to class very much. And then I went to Tennessee State for a half a semester, which is where all of my family, paternal and maternal, both sides, everybody went to TSU.
Yeah.
So I went there, but that was just a little too hot, so to speak, like too many eyeballs on me because I'm kind of legacy on both sides of my family. And I needed to get the hell out of there. And then I started working at an after-hours spot called Midnight, really well. And that ended up being way too hot, way too much. So after that, I decided, okay, what are you really doing with your life? What are you doing, ma'am? Like, it's time to, what you want to do. And so I went to Philly for a hot second, lived up there for a little bit, and then came back and took some wild ass road trips to a few different places to see if I wanted to be there. Might have touched my toe down in DC for a second, touched my toe down in Michigan for a minute, touched my toe down maybe a couple other places, and then ended up going to Atlanta with one of my best friends.
And so you're in Atlanta and you're focused on being a singer at that point, right?
At that point, yes.
And then how did you kind of get, first of all, you were in the CK1 ad. Was that before or after your album?
I was in the CK1 ad after Pendulum Vibe.
Okay. So how did you get signed and how did that whole first album come about? I became first of all, before you start, for anyone watching that doesn't know, Joy is like a 6-foot Amazonian, amazing, gorgeous woman with this amazing style. I like, you're sitting down and I feel like people don't know how tall and gorgeous you are. I mean, gorgeous, obviously, but how amazing, visually you are. So
I have to say, friend, I just present as 6-foot Amazonian. I just present that way. I'm really not. I'm only 5'8".
No.
But with a pump. I'm about 5'8", yeah.
Oh
but with a pump on, but with a mean pump. I'm about 6'1" or 6'2".
I've stood next to you a million times. I thought you were 6 feet. Well, you're right. You present. Good. Got it. Okay, good. It works. Yeah. I became aware of you, obviously, from your first single. I remember seeing it. I think I was in Detroit still when it came out, and I remember being kind of like enthralled just by it, by you, the visual, the song, everything. But how did that come about? How did you end up getting signed, and how did that album come about?
Okay, so I met Dallas Austin in
How did you
Nashville.
meet him? Oh, you met him in Nashville.
At a recording studio when he was recording Highland Place Mobsters.
Yep.
TLC and Boyz II Men and ABC were on the charts at the time. And he was working on his group's material down there. He was going to be there for, an extended period of time. The engineer that he was working with, I knew because they also worked at the studio that I worked out of. And the engineer just so happened to mention to him, because I think he was just asking, like, where are the black people? Where's people in Nashville? Like, does anybody know? And the engineer was like, yeah, I actually have a friend, Joy.
Talk to Joy. She'll know where the black people are. Yeah.
I'll call her. And so he ended up calling me, and I ended up coming over there, and I was familiar with what Dallas had done, and so I was thinking, oh, this should be cool. Yeah. And so we met, and we hit it off. I presented though as a songwriter and not as a singer because I just felt that I was just more reputable at the time. Yeah. More like a songwriter who also sings. Yeah. And so we ended up hitting it off. Everything went well. Kind of kept in contact. And it was always a thing of, if you're ever in Atlanta, hit me up. So probably within that year, or maybe the next year, I ended up moving to Atlanta. And I was spending some time with my friend Dee Dee, who I spoke about earlier, that I grew up with, who was doing work with Bobby Brown over at Bosstown Records. She's actually an artist. I signed to him. I was doing some work with her. And then some kind of way with me being over there, I think Dallas may have ended up hearing that I was there, so kind of ended up reaching out to me and had me come by the studio. By dark, it hadn't been open that long, and I went by and we just started vibing on some songs, and ended up doing 4 songs at that time, and one of the songs happened to be "Sunshine in the Rain." And once we had "Sunshine in the Rain," it was just kind of like, oh shit.
Yeah, this is real.
First, it was like, are we writing for someone else, or what are we, But because of how it ended up coming out, he was like, "We need to get you, like, you want to do this? Like, this needs to be yours. Like, I want to, help put you out if that's what you want to do." And I was like, "Well, shit, yeah, let's do it."
Like, who says no? But let me ask this question. Had you wanted to be an artist or not really, or kind of at that point? It sounds like you did, or kind of.
Just like a creative. Like I just knew, I just wanted to do my shit, do my music. I had, a binder full of shit at that time. I wanted it to be able to come out.
Express it,
I grew up performing. If it was going to be coming through me, then let it come through me, And so, I was ready at that time. I was. I was ready. And so that's.
And how old were you? How old were you at the time?
Maybe 21, 22.
Yeah, I'm very young, I remember. And then, but it seemed that way. You seemed like that kind of person that was just kind of like creating and exposing it to us. You didn't seem like, you didn't seem like you wanted to be like, this Beyonce superstar. You just wanted to create and have us like experience it, basically. It's always seemed that way. All of your albums. Yeah, and I just remember being kind of enthralled and being like,
"Hi, Joshua."
Hi, Joshua. I just remember being so enthralled and like I love this very much. So, and then the CK ad came after that.
It came after that, a little bit after.
Right after, yeah. 'Cause you were in a CK1 ad, which I vividly remember.
Kind of the same. I consider it the same era,
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
The record was already out though, but I did the CK1, and Madonna made a call to Stephen Mizell and was like,
"Wait, hold on. First of all, you're saying too much at once. Hold on, rewind." So first of all, I remember the CK1 vividly. I vividly remember you in it, and it was so impactful for the time. It was really, what year was that? Like 1997?
Like 94.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. It was before I was in New York. So I just vividly remember it. It was really impactful. Like you as a person in it, maybe didn't realize how impactful it was. I vividly remember you in it. And so tell me now what you said before. Madonna called Stephen Meisel. How did that all come about?
Okay, so Madonna ends up coming to Atlanta and spending some time down there because she is working on bedtime stories at the time. She kind of opened up to working with other young, mostly Black producers at the time. And she sort of kind of made her rounds working with different folks that were, very out front at the time. And she ended up, Pendulum Vibe ended up coming across her plate. And she wanted to work with Dallas because of that. And so I ended up being able to spend some good quality time with her in Atlanta. And of course, I'm 21, 22. I'm fucking with her hard because hell, that was my, she's a part of my middle school get down,
And she's also like one of the biggest stars on the planet at the time,
on the planet at the time. Like it was like, that was it.
It was Michael Jackson and her, like,
her, period.
Yeah.
Like that's it,
And that was
yes, I'm, elated, truly, but I'm also kind of cool because I'm still it's kind of how I am.
Yeah.
So I'm still.
Yeah. And
but
so
she was good to me though. She was cool.
Well, I envision you kind of taking her out to all the clubs and things like that. You showing her around, exactly, right?
In the A, she hung with us. And Dennis, I remember meeting Dennis Rodman at that time as well.
That's a legendary time. Madonna and Dennis Rodman and Joy. I want to go to that party.
Yeah, it was legendary times. But she also ended up taking me out when I went to New York to have to do work and press and stuff. So I ended up having some pretty legendary hangouts with her in Atlanta and in New York, which is how I ended up I met Stephen Meisel at a party that I went to her because it was maybe a party for like Interview magazine or something. Remember how Interview was like really, really this shit?
Yeah, of course.
Like
yeah, of course.
And so they had like maybe like a Fresh Faces of the year, 25, under 25 Fresh Faces or some shit. And so I was like one of those kids at the time. And so I remember going to that party and seeing people, that I grew up looking at. So it was a little surreal. It was like Sylvester Stallone was there and like Sting was there and like Raquel Welch and like, but I met so many people with her that it was just like it was like some people I couldn't really remember. But I'm from the South. I'm congenial. I'm just, hey, how you doing? Hey, nice to meet you. Hey, how's it going? And so one of those people that I met that night was Stephen Meisel, unbeknownst to me. Already knew what I looked like and knew, saw my whole little steez or whatever that night. And Madonna ended up being the one saying to him, because he was, she knew he was trying to put together the campaign and he had this kind of aesthetic that he wanted and da-da-da. And so she was really like, this is what's happening. She should be in there. And he was like, you know what? I should. And so.
Well, it's interesting. This is my 58th talk in a row, and Madonna's come up several, like once every couple days, and a lot of people have stories about her really kind of behind the scenes hooking people up. She's been really generous to a lot of different people. And, no people like, no, a lot of people don't know that story, for instance, that she is responsible for suggesting you get the CK, reminding Stephen Meisel to basically book you, And then, don't you have a wild night? You went out with Madonna one night in New York. Wasn't there a story about that?
There is a story about that. We hung. I admit this was that night.
Oh, okay, the same night.
It was the same night. But it was after we went to. Well, no, at that party, it was me, Madonna, Ingrid, Chavez, Gorgeous, and Tupac.
Exactly. Listen.
Because Madonna and Tupac were very good friends at the time.
Friends.
And Tupac and I were cool because I met him in Atlanta. So I knew him, but they were, really hanging out quite a bit at the time. And so we are, doing some pretty legendary fucking party hopping that night.
Madonna and Tupac were hanging out, by the way. So like,
right, they were cool. Like I know,
yeah,
you know, hey, they were cool.
yeah. You're just there. You're having fun.
They were having fun. Yeah, they were having a great time. And boy, that was another night that, you know, my head was just kind of swimming with all kinds of different people.
Yeah.
I ended up meeting Gianni Versace that night.
You told me that,
And that was really, you know, and he was just very, oh, you're so, I love, you know. It was, yeah, I wish that my brain wasn't so, you know, foggy, even though I don't smoke anymore. Smoker's brain is, you know, a real thing. I
Well,
wish it wasn't so foggy.
the
But
reality
I
is,
remember bits and pieces. I guess I remember the important parts of the night. I just remember it being quite a fucking night. You know,
well, my thing
one
is,
of a few.
those things, I know it's just like, there's so much coming at you, and like you're with Madonna and Tupac. I'm sure there's pandemonium going around at all times. So, you know, the reality is you remember the important things. And what you know, I've been in situations similar, and you remember like the essences of like Tupac and the essence of Madonna. You remember that for sure, you know, the kind of energies of those people. But there's so many things flying at you. The Raquel, like you said, Raquel Welch and Sylvester Stallone, those are just things that were like seconds, you know, seconds going by. Yeah, I get it. I understand. So the takeaway is that you, Tupac, and Madonna hung out at the Interview Magazine party in New York City because you were the new face, you know, because you were the new face. So,
we did. And I just remember everybody being very, you know, everywhere we went, people being very, you know, oh, who is that? You know,
yeah,
who is
exactly. Well, that's
very,
exactly.
who is that? You know, I remember that a lot. And I was kind of like, oh, shit.
Do you remember what club or anything in New York? Do you remember any of that?
Say it again, baby.
Do you remember what club you were at or anywhere in New York? Do you remember where you were at? No, right?
I almost feel like it was. I almost feel like it was hotels.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I almost feel like maybe it wasn't a club, or maybe if it was, I feel like they were like big ass hotel lobbies. That's what it felt like. I mean, surely the interview party was at a. That could have been at a hotel too, though. They could have had like a deck ass ball or something. It could have been that. I don't know.
No, I love that story. You know it. I tell you all the time. Okay, so the song "Freedom" is one of my favorite songs, like in life, in history. Like that's a beautiful song. I've used it in creative things throughout since it came out. I've used it probably every couple of years. I've always referred to it in some creative capacity, you know. So that song in particular, I think, is amazing. And what does that song mean? What does that song mean to you?
College friend. Say it again, baby.
What does that song mean to you? What did it mean to you then, and what does it mean to you now, I guess? Is there, you know?
Well, it's definitely one of the highlights of my journey.
Yep.
You know, a twofold highlight. Because it's important, you know, that it was, you know, that the original, the gritty original is on, you know, Pendulum Vibe, which of course is my debut, but, you know, how fantastic is it to have had, you know, every badass Black female artist at the time to sing on your shit, you know? A very pivotal moment for me and for everyone. A lot of unity there that day. A lot of ladies I never forgot. A lot of ladies never forgot me. And you know, continually show a lot of good, solid camaraderie came about, you know, because of that day. A lot of mutual respect came about because of that day.
Yeah. And but that's apparent from the second version of the song. But what it's the ultimate compliment for you to release that song, to write that song, release that song, and then to have it then turn into, like, for that time, every single important Black female singer to then sing it with you. That's got the ultimate compliment, or the ultimate, like, pat on the back, I guess, or whatever, you know. So I do, and I love that song. I reference that song every couple of years in some creative facet. I always will. I love that song. So
thank you, man. I appreciate it. Hi, V. I love you, V.
Hi, V. Yes, everyone's been very excited. So then So the next album you came out with was Amoeba Cleansing Syndrome, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
what was that experience like for you, and what's your takeaway from that whole thing?
So amoeba cleansing syndrome was, sort of the result of my music industry cherry having been popped.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know what I expected
Yeah.
to happen as a result of Pendulum Vibe. But I think I definitely expected more reach for my
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
And I went through a very, very, very sort of, dejected, down,
Yeah.
uh, despondent kind of period because of
Yeah.
that. I went to London for a little bit, spent a little time over there, was completely unproductive the entire
Yeah.
time I was there because I was so depressed.
Yeah.
And it was also kind of falling in love at the time and just wanted to come back home and just kind of
Yeah.
lick my wounds at home. Um, but amoeba cleansing syndrome was kind of my moment of, well, fuck it. I realized that uh, there's a certain way that you have to play in this industry to be able to see it the way you may envision it. And if I have to play it like that, I don't think I'm cut out for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I'm cut out for that. I don't think that that's what I want to do. I would much rather do it my way and be able to create the shit, that, for those who have an ear, let them hear. Uh, and that's kind of, that began that sort of attitude really, really became reinforced during that time period. And I also wanted to open up even more and go heavier, rockier, freer, uh, uh, and expand even more. And I feel like I was able to do that with Amoeba.
It's so interesting because, you seem like that type of artist that wants to create albums, and if people like them, people like them. Like that, you seem like that. But so many of I have a lot of female singer friends, and most of them have the exact same journey. Once they kind of realized what the business was, they were like, screw it, I'm going to do it for myself. Which is, that, and most of my friends have had that same moment where they're like, screw this, like I'm going to, it does involve something that a lot of people don't want to give, so
Right.
So, and I think people are always better off. They get to stay true to their art, stay true to themselves. Otherwise, you get lost, you lose yourself, I think, in a lot of ways. So,
yeah, you definitely got to know what you're doing it for.
Yeah,
you got to know what you're doing it for.
And then, so you have 2 more albums that you release, and so you're kind of like now you're kind of a even more free artist. And what were the next 2 albums experiences like for you, as well?
Well, I have to just to sort of tie in from Amoeba. Amoeba, I ended up working with Fishbone on that, and so that also created a lifelong friendship, working relationship, family, camaraderie. And so I would sort of, be able to kind of take all of that, with me moving forward. However, the third album, I would end up, getting married, having a kid, and trying to give the whole industry thing one last sort of, good old college try, and come through with Star Kitty's Revenge. And that ended up being released on Universal. That was, I guess I began working on that maybe in 2000. Maybe that's when I was signed to Universal. I think the project may have actually come out in 2002. That was my last album that I worked with Dallas on. It was also kind of the first album that I was beginning to break away from working with him exclusively. He only ended up doing 2 songs on there. So it was a transitional period, serious transition period for me. Beginning to more put on that, truly put on that executive producer hat. Even though I had done that on the priors as well, but to really have to figure out, you know, who I wanted to work with, how I was going to pick. It was the first time uh, uh, for me uh, having a real budget to like go out and like tour and things like that. Um, and it also ended up being the album that people like how you were talking about with Prince. Like you, there's some people that
Yeah.
the Prince fans that you kind of mark like, oh, they
Yeah.
kind of came on board at Kiss,
Yeah.
you know, and that's their place. So I kind of have similar fans that kind of came on board at Lick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like the people who are Lick forward, you know, they don't
Yeah.
really know about Pendulum Vibe. They don't really know about Amoeba Cleansing Syndrome.
Yeah.
They kind of think it all started in the new millennium. But I appreciate those fans too because they go hard body. Uh, that song just ended up getting, you know, a lot of exposure having been on in Triple X
Yeah.
on that soundtrack.
Yeah.
And people just, it was just kind of maybe my most commercially cohesive
Yeah.
album to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that one just ended up being a little more accessible than uh, albums in the past. Uh,
Yeah.
and then after that, though, that was a good run. And some real legendary shows. And then I ended up being dropped by Universal. But I was really excited once I was
Yeah.
dropped.
Yeah. Exactly.
Then I was just
But
like, "Whew, okay.
as most people are, everyone I know, again,
Yeah.
everyone I know is always happy when they get dropped. They're not upset. They're like, thank goodness. You know?
Woo, set me
Yeah.
free.
Exactly.
And then I started working with Raphael Sadiq because it also kind of overlapping during the time when I was doing Star Kitty's Revenge. I also ended up getting in Lucy Pearl. He
Yeah, I
reached
remember.
out to me to start working with him on that. So I just kind of jumped in for like the tail end of what they were doing in Lucy Pearl.
Yeah.
Didn't sing on any of the albums or anything, but was able to do some tour runs with them
Yeah.
and
Live
to
shows. Yeah.
also do some television
Yeah.
with them. And as a result of that, I also started working on, well, not even as a result of that, but shortly after that was done, I also started working on Tennessee Slim is the Bomb.
Yeah.
And so that was in like maybe 2004 by then.
Raphael is a lovely person, first of all. I think he's a lovely
Yes,
person. He's
absolutely.
such a creative. He's told me some stories too that I'm like, are you serious? These amazing stories, and he's responsible for so much stuff kind of behind the scenes. He doesn't really want credit, which I love about him. He's not the kind of guy, he doesn't want to be the center of attention. He really just
But
likes
he's a
creating.
good, if you get him going, that's a good story telling somebody.
Oh my gosh! Listen. He's told me. He took me. I was in the studio last year. He was telling me stories. I was blown away. First of all, he told me that he was in Sheila E.'s band when he was about 18 years old, and Prince fired his band and took Sheila E.'s band. So he was in Prince's band when he was like 18. He's like, how did I even end up here? Like, it's crazy. So, but he's a really great guy and really talented, obviously. And you know, I think anyone he works with, he kind of creates magic with. I believe so. You know.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, Sidra.
What's up, Sidra? Sidra's been very supportive. We appreciate that. Okay, so I want to ask you a couple questions. We have, I think, 5 minutes or less left.
Okay.
So, have you ever been to balls?
A ball.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. I walked in the ball in Atlanta.
I'm sure you
Yes,
have.
I did.
I'm sure you have.
Absolutely. And I just love to my angel, who's not here anymore, but my beautiful angel, Orenthal Allen, that used to do my hair for years.
Yeah.
I went to the ball with him. Yes,
Oh.
I did. House
and
of Mugrier.
what have you learned about yourself recently?
What have I learned about myself recently? I have learned that, what have I learned about myself recently?
Could be the last 5 years even, you know.
I think I've learned that my capacity for love is even deeper than I thought it was.
Amazing. That's a great one. Good one. I love that. What is your go-to song that gets you on the dance floor every single time, ever, always?
Got a couple of them. One of them is Get Off by Foxy.
Yes, I love that song.
I mean, please, if I hear that.
Yep.
Also, I Can Make You Dance. by Zap. If I hear that,
Oh yes, yes, I don't want to.
oh my God! Like as soon as I
Yeah.
hear it, just I can make you dance. So yeah, those will get me on the floor. What else? It's a few of them. Those are the two that come to my mind like
Get off.
automatically.
Get off
Yeah,
is a
but
good
get
one.
off, honey, like
I
get
want to hear
off.
get off. I want to hear get off right now. Yes, exactly, exactly.
Right, I might get off the phone and get off on. Like
Um,
this is my favorite.
I want to hear get off right now. You're right. Okay, so one more question before we wrap it up, and because it
Okay.
just Instagram just hangs up on you after an hour, so I don't want it to hang
Right.
up.
Exactly.
So if you could go to dinner with 4 people, living or dead, who would they be? 4, and then you'd be the 5th.
Okay. Minnie Riperton.
Great, amazing.
Anthony Bourdain.
Cool, interesting.
Bootsy Collins.
Obviously.
Sade.
That's cool.
And Peach.
Who?
And Peach.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. I said 4. You said 5. That's great. I love you. So, Joy. Okay. So I want to wrap it up. I don't want it to hang up on us. I want to tell you, thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome.
I
Thank
think
you for having me.
you're so important to culture. I'm very glad I could celebrate you in that way. I want you to realize it. I want you to own it. You have an amazing body of work. You are one of the most creative people I've ever met, ever, truly. You by standing there, you're kind of human art just standing there. You know, you have such a creative aura and energy around you. It's infectious. You know I love you, but I really just want to celebrate your cultural and your creative contributions to this world. And, you know, like I said, you have an amazing body of work that you should be extremely proud of. I love it. I hope you are as well. And I just want to celebrate you for being this creative human being. So I love you.
I love you.
Thank you, Joy.
Thank y'all for tuning in.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.